but you know how it ends. Smiles for the cameras, deals in the light, but truth disappears somewhere out of sight. Moolah's behind it, controlling the flow. You shake hands with fire, but you already know. They're reaching high. From cells to the shadows, their voices still grow, dreaming of a future they don't even know. Deals at the top while the pressure runs low, and down below the fear continues to grow. Deal with the devil, you know what it costs. Promises fade while the lines get crossed. Deal with the devil, you hear their call, voices in chains still rise and fall. strength. Don't let it all go. You don't free millions by moving too slow. Mr. Trump, if you give them that deal, they keep the power, they tighten the seal. More voices silenced, more lives erased, while freedom is pushed further away. Be the Reagan they need, take a stand, don't trade their future for a sake of a hand. Deal with the devil, you know what it costs. Too many lives already lost. Deal with the devil, you hear their call. Iranians fighting, they won't let it fall. Deal with the devil, don't look away, while lives are taken day by day. Mr. Trump, be like Reagan. No deals with the devil. Oh yeah! Are you ready?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Let's go! Raptor fighter flying over the sea. F-35 is the drug for me. My heart, epic fury. Got the IRGC running scared. Laser guided missiles in the air. My heart, epic fury. Ooh, are you ready, Tehran? Ooh, are you ready now? No more deals, no more delay. It's time to blow the regime away. Epic fury, thunder and flash. Watch the walls of the regime crash. The sledgehammer swinging from the sky. Smash the regime and watch it die. Epic fury, fire and steel. This is the real art of the deal. Straight up Hormuz, open the gate. Mullahs crying, meeting their fate. My heart, epic fury. Passenger running from the American sound. Tomahawk missiles hitting the ground. My heart, epic fury. Ooh, are you ready, Tehran? Ooh, are you ready for the final round? Epic fury, thunder and flash. Watch the walls of the regime crash. The sledgehammer swinging from the sky. Smash the regime and watch it die. Epic fury, fire and steel. This is the real art of the deal. When we started this fight, all we needed were guns and a spark. 40 years of darkness, now we're lighting up the dark. Crown Prince Pahlavi's back in town.
Jovi Chuck.
And we're
Jovi Chuck.
burning the Islamic regime down. Epic fury, thunder and flash. Watch the walls of the regime crash. The sledgehammer swinging from the sky. Smash the regime and watch it die. Golden cross shining, crusader back to the fight. Hey, Seth is coming with the hammer of the
Well, guys, hello. Okay, let me take off my Trump hat and my sunglasses. Welcome to tonight's evening edition of the Goldie Show. Now, guys, I literally have like hat hair now because I was wearing my baseball hat, my Trump hat. Guys, I love this hat, by the way. Isn't this like the coolest hat ever? It's Trump make America great again, and there's like an American flag here as well, and it's pink. It's so cute. Like, I love it. It's perfect. It's perfect. So literally one of my favorite baseball hats. Guys, you all know one of my life goals is like I want President Trump to sign this hat for me. So I don't know, at some point I'm just gonna go to like Washington DC and just be like, President Trump, please sign this hat for me. So let's see. And by the way, this hat, it was bought like this is from New York City. So this is legitimately like a hat that was purchased in the United States. So there you go. If anyone from the Trump administration is watching, please, I would really appreciate having this hat signed by President Trump. Okay, guys, so welcome to tonight's evening edition of The Goldie Show. I'm your host, Goldie Ghamari, former Canadian politician, current geopolitical analyst, and of course, Iran human rights expert. And yeah, I needed a little bit of a pick-me-up after today's broadcast of Iran Revolution Live. For those of you who watched, of course, it was very somber, it was very dark, but you know, this is what I mean when I say that we have highs and we have lows. But guys, what I want to, and of course, as always, let me know where you are tuning in from if you're in the live stream chat. Can I just say something? I really appreciate all of your comments, and you know, I try to see as many of the comments as I can, whether it's in the live stream chat, or like you know, if it's in the video description below. And you know, big shout out to the rewatch crew as well. But one thing that I absolutely love is that you know, people in the live stream chat, like, you guys are already mentioning where you are tuning in from, right? And like, for example, let me just share one message here. And I like this just like, this gives me so much energy because it's like, you guys already know what I'm going to say. And it just like, such a high IQ chat, right? So let me get to the first comment here, for example. Let's just see. So for example, where is this? So it's also like in the intro, right? Push-ups, by the way. I see your sarcastic comments. You're hilarious, but there you go. So John. So here's a good example. So John, and you know, everyone, give a shout out to John, who posted right when the live stream began, or actually 30 minutes before the live stream began, and right away John was like, he's from Florida. So shout out to John. Guys, everyone, put a J in the chat for John. Shout out to John and everyone else. So it's like, you guys already know what I'm gonna ask. So yes, let me know in the live stream chat where you're tuning in from. I'm always interested to know how big our community of patriots is. And remember, patriots, right? We are all patriotic to our own countries, because patriotism is how we fight globalism, how we fight jihad, how we fight mass illegal immigration. And you know, President Trump has spoken quite a bit about that as well on his Truth Social. Now, you know, I don't really dive into that too much. Oh God, oh, we have someone from Israel. I'm Israel Chai. We love Israel. I can't wait to go back and visit Israel. literally like one of my favorite countries in the world is Israel. I'm Israel Chai. God bless Israel. But yeah, so we're all patriots because we are all fighting for our own countries, our culture, our identity. And that's really important because the globalists are trying to erase our identities, our history, right? Like they want this whole policy of open borders. Like what? What? Like open borders? Absolute garbage, absolute nonsense. And President Trump has posted on Truth Social about that. I'm not going to do like a deep dive into that because, of course, this is the Goldie Show is more about the geopolitical analysis and conflict. But, guys, can you please get your hashtags ready? Because I spoke about this a couple days ago. Remember? Remember when President Trump had that Truth Social post? And he was like, I've, on this post here. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up, guys. So, get your hashtags ready, please, everyone. Everyone. Because remember, I told you guys, right? So this was from a few days ago. And President Trump posted, the USA is locked and loaded and ready to go against the Islamic Republic. Guys, this is the important part. He doesn't say Iran, right? He doesn't say Iran. He says the Islamic Republic of Iran, right? Because the war is not with the Iranian people. Because we Iranians, we are the allies of the United States and Israel, right? Like Iranians, we're your allies. We Iranians were occupied by the Muslim Nazis. So that's why President Trump says locked and loaded and ready to go against the Islamic Republic of Iran at levels of military terror, strength, and power not seen since World War II. Despite this, we have just been asked by Iran and other Middle Eastern countries to hold off any attack in that the perimeters of a deal. Guys, remember, I told you, right? I told you, perimeters of a deal doesn't mean anything, okay? Perimeters of a deal, that means nothing. That's like saying an MOU, right? And anyone who's, gone to law school, like, I've gone to law school, so I literally have like a legal degree. Guys, by the way, I'm actually a doctor. Did you know that? I don't brag about that, but I'm technically a Juris Doctor, so I guess you could call me Dr. Ghamari, but I don't brag about these things because I always find that people who brag about their credentials, they're literally the stupider you are, the more you brag about your credentials, right? So I never brag about my credentials or my degrees or everything because it doesn't mean anything, right? Like honestly, like some of the most idiotic people I've ever met have PhDs, and I just look at them and I'm like, how the hell did you ever get a PhD, right? Oh, oh my god, Omi, this is so good. But do I have 35 years of journalism? No, I don't. But, 35 years of journalism is irrelevant when it's just garbage, communist, Durka, jihadi journalism, right? But yeah, there you go. Guys, this is literally like what I deal with on a daily basis, right? People are like, oh, I have a PhD. And I'm like, oh, Honat Kennedy, you have a PhD. I'm literally a doctor, but like, no one calls me Dr. Ghamari because that's just stupid, right? Like, guys, even when I was an elected official, and people were like, oh, MPP Ghamari. I was like, no, just call me Goldie. Just call me by my name, right? Because anyone who goes around and acts like, they're better than everyone else, and, oh, I have a degree, so I'm more intelligent than you, that's retarded. I know people who have, they haven't even graduated high school, but they are smarter than the vast majority of people with PhDs. Okay, so just keep that in mind. This is why I never focus on like degrees or anything like that, because I think that's actually like, I don't know, it's just like, I want to say it's almost like it's like putting people in boxes, right? It's like you're judging someone's intelligence based on their level of education. However, the education system, yeah, exactly. Shannon, this is exactly it. Pretentious credentialism. Yes, absolutely, right? Because the reality is that the current status of the education system is actually terrible. And so oftentimes people who haven't been indoctrinated by the education system are actually more intelligent, right? Because you haven't dealt with the Durkas or the communists or whatever. So there you go. So yeah, that's why I never comment on the fact that I'm literally like a Juris Doctor, and so I'm technically Dr. Ghamari, but whatever. But it's just interesting that like this random journalist was like, I have 35 years experience as a journalist, as if that somehow makes him like a credible source or whatever. But anyway, I digress. So this is why I'm waiting for all of you to put in the hashtags. You know which hashtag it is, but let's continue. So I said to you guys, despite this, we have just been asked by Iran and other Middle Eastern countries, and President Trump confirmed on Air Force One that those Middle Eastern countries are Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar, right? To hold off any attack, in that the perimeters of a deal have been agreed to. Again, guys, perimeters of a deal, totally meaningless, right? Perimeters of a deal doesn't mean anything, because anyone who's taken like first year law school, right? Like Contract 101 is basically like a mandatory course. Everyone knows, right? Like it's literally like a pass or fail question. An agreement to agree is not enforceable. So a memorandum of understanding is not actually enforceable in contract law, okay? So there you go. To hold off any attack, in that the perimeters of a deal has been agreed to, right? So President Trump here, what he means is like he's calling out the nonsense of the Islamic regime. And those who understand contract law and negotiations, also given the fact of what President Trump said a few weeks ago, and I shared that earlier, right? This means nothing. Then he continues. He says, so when I say this means nothing, what I mean is that President Trump is saying that perimeters of a deal doesn't actually mean anything. Like it's not like a legally enforceable term or contract in any way, shape, or form. But then he continues. This would include the immediate, complete, and total opening of the Hormuz Strait and an end to Iran's nuclear threat. Based on this request, I have agreed, for the future benefit of the world and likewise the survival of a successful and prosperous Iran, to cancel the attack, subject to being able to rapidly, guys, key word, rapidly make a deal. Rapidly, okay? The country of Israel joins me in this commitment. So, basically, what President Trump is saying is that, in other words, when, oh guys, look, we have trolls. Let me ban this troll. All right. Trump trolls are banned. Anyway, so what President Trump is saying here is that he's pretty much confirming that when Prime Minister Netanyahu went to go visit Trump this past week and had a meeting with him, it was about the military strategy considering the Islamic regime occupying Iran, right? And this is like the key words that people, they just don't pick up on for some reason, right? Because I don't know. Everyone, guys, there are so many like armchair experts and analysts out there. How many of them actually have real political experience, or, I don't know, right? How many of them actually have real world experience? Dominic says, you guys keep deleting trolls before I get a chance to see what they wrote. Dominic, you got to catch up. So, that troll basically just wrote Taco Tuesday, so I banned them, right? I mean, that's just, just. And you know what's really funny, Dominic, is that you guys all know, right? Like my live stream chat on YouTube, you have to be a subscriber for 20 minutes in order to comment. So these trolls, they literally subscribe to my channel and then they wait 20 minutes just to post like one garbage comment, and then I just ban them right away, or the mods ban them, right? So it's actually really hilarious because all the trolls, right, guys, this is what's really funny. The trolls have to sit and wait for 20 minutes and listen to me speak the truth before they can post like one garbage comment, and then all the mods get them. So it's so funny. But yeah, anyway, so the country of Israel joins me in this commitment. So guys, what President Trump essentially was confirming here back on August 1 is that the meeting that he had with Prime Minister Netanyahu was literally about the strategy on how to deal with the Islamic regime. And these are the key words that a lot of people are forgetting, or I don't know, maybe purposely choosing to ignore. I have no idea. But rapidly make a deal. Okay, so remember, guys, deal is different from perimeters of a deal. Okay, so perimeters of a deal doesn't actually mean anything. What President Trump is looking for is an actual deal. Now, if you guys recall, what I said on my previous live stream of the Goldie Show is that this is not going to happen, right? Because remember, when it comes to the Islamic regime, when it comes to the Muslim Nazis that are occupying Iran, if their lips are moving, they are lying, right? If their lips are moving, they are lying. And President Trump, in this post, not only did he call out the Islamic regime, but he called out Saudi Arabia, he called out Qatar, and he called out the UAE. Interesting. So let's go to President Trump and what he said on Air Force One before I continue with his update from today, okay? Because the chronological timeline here, no, not Oman. Guys, Oman is irrelevant. Oman is irrelevant. That Pakistani communist Durka guy, he's like, oh, the Islamic regime has the upper hand because of Oman and Pakistan. Yeah, that's garbage nonsense, right? I mean, that's just what I deal with like the communist garbage, right? But anyways, but this is what I want to share. Oh my gosh, yeah, no, Oman doesn't matter. Like, guys, Oman is, oh my gosh, Oman is literally irrelevant, right? But again, like you guys saw my face on that. Oh my gosh, that was such a garbage thing that I did. I can't believe that they want me back. But anyways, so here you go, guys. So here is President Trump on Air Force One, where he basically confirms that the countries who want him to give another chance to the Islamic regime are Saudi Arabia, Qatar, but also the UAE. Isn't that interesting? Because the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, has been spending billions and billions of dollars in propaganda money to try and convince all of you that they're allies of the West, right? And the UAE goes around and claims, oh, we hate the Islamic regime, blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay, so then why is the UAE telling President Trump to give the Islamic regime another chance, right? Yeah. By the way, guys, I was, just FYI, in case you're interested, um, in a little bit of tea. So before I continue with my analysis, let me give you some tea. When I was first starting out my YouTube channel, The Goldie Show, maybe, I mean, I can't confirm or deny this, but maybe I was approached by some rich people in the UAE who wanted me to, you know, advocate for the UAE. And I was told that, the UAE is very interested in me, and, I was even offered a full paid luxury trip to the UAE. And my response was, there's no way in hell that I'm ever traveling to the UAE. There you go. So, that's all I'm going to say about the UAE. But I will literally, like, the only country in the Middle East that I trust going to is Israel. There's no other country in the Middle East that I would ever go to. So yeah, when some people from the UAE were like, "Oh, you should come to the UAE. We love what you're doing. We'll fund you. We'll sponsor you. We'll pay for your channel." I was like, there's no way in the Allahu Akbar Muhammad Jihad I'm ever going to the UAE as an Iranian. Yeah, by the way, the human slavery trafficking in the UAE is terrible, and the UAE is not a safe place for Iranians. In fact, the UAE has been a safe haven for the Islamic regime for a very long time. So anyways, there you go. And the only reason that I can speak out against all these countries is because I'm not paid by anyone. I'm not sponsored by anyone. I'm my own person, and I speak my truth. So there you go. But guys, a lot of people go to the UAE, and the UAE, like, they advertise themselves as like this like luxury Middle Eastern destination. Don't go. It's literally not worth it. Just look up porta potties. Look up like porta potty parties in Dubai. It's messed up. And a lot of non-Muslim women have become victims of sex trafficking in the UAE, right? So just, yeah, don't look it up on your work computer. But yeah, if you are a non-Muslim woman, just my recommendation would be don't go to the UAE, especially if you're like, white with blonde hair and blue or green eyes, because yeah, like they have a thing for degrading women who are blonde and white and have blue or green eyes. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyways, let's get to President Trump's comments, where, again, he literally says that the UAE was one of the countries that told him not to attack the Islamic regime. Okay? So keep that in mind.
Hi, everybody. So go ahead.
What prompted you to call off the strikes last night?
I was asked to by Saudi Arabia, by UAE, and by Qatar, and by...
Okay, so Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar. Interesting, right? President Trump is literally calling them out.
Iran.
Iran, he means the Islamic regime, right? There you go.
We were all set to go. It's about at this time right now, and it would have been...
And you know what? It's actually really, really shameful that it's really shameful that these Arab countries in the Middle East continue to defend a brutal Islamic dictatorship that is murdering Iranian people. And I want to explain to you the ideology behind why this is happening. Okay? Um, so the reason that these Arab Muslim countries in the Persian Gulf and the Middle East support the Islamic regime over the United States is because, remember, at the end of the day, they're all Muslim, okay? And within their religion, right? This is literally their religion. This is within their Quran, their book, okay? Their book says that according to Allah, Allah is the God, the demon God that they all worship. Allah says that Muslims have a duty and responsibility to defend and protect other Muslims against the infidel. Okay? So what does this mean? This means that even though the UAE and Saudi Arabia and Qatar are like terrorist states, but whatever. Even though, UAE as well, but whatever. Like, even though these Arab Muslim countries, they know that the Islamic regime is engaging in crimes against humanity, right? Crimes against humanity of the Iranian people. And I shared that footage earlier today of all the, dead bodies and all the body bags and everything, right? Like I shared that earlier on Iran Revolution Live, day 205. Even though all of these Muslim countries know that the Islamic regime is murdering Iranians, according to their religion, they have a duty to Allah, that's their demon god, and they have a duty to Muhammad, that's the, Arab pedophile warlord that they worship, right? Remember, Muhammad, literally, married a 6-year-old girl. He was, 54 at the time, right? So they literally worship, an Arab warlord pedophile. So according to their Allah and according to their pedophile prophet, they have an Allah-given responsibility to protect Muslims over the infidels. So the reason that Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE are asking President Trump to give the Islamic regime another chance is because they literally believe that they have to protect the Muslims over the infidel. And, this is where the whole analysis of Shia versus Sunni, it goes down the drain, because you have all these non-Middle Eastern people, especially no offense to Americans or Canadians or British or whatever, no offense to white people, but you guys have some analysts and they're like, oh, well, the Saudis hate the Iranians because Shia versus Sunni. And meanwhile, the rest of us are like, you idiot. You idiot. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, the Shia, the Quran literally says that all Muslims must unite when it comes to the infidel. So even though the Saudis are Sunni and the Islamic regime are Shia, okay, and even though the Sunnis and the Shia are fighting, when it comes to the infidel, remember, the infidel, that's you, especially, Americans, you're the infidel, okay? The Sunnis will still support the Islamic regime and try to keep the Islamic regime in power. Why? Because at the end of the day, a Muslim is a Muslim, and Muslims support one another over the infidel. So when, President Trump, and guys, this isn't even some might be like, oh, Goldie, what are you talking about? Guys, this is the truth. This is the truth, right? Because the infighting between the Shias and the Sunnis, think of that as infighting within a family, okay? So imagine if two siblings are, fighting with one another, okay? That's a personal family thing. However, imagine if some outsider comes and attacks one sibling. Well, the other sibling is going to be like, what the heck are you doing attacking my brother or sister? I'm going to come after you, right? So the infighting is a personal thing, but when it comes to the infidels, that's you, that's me, that's, Iranians and Americans and, Jews and whoever else, who's not Muslim, they will unite because they literally believe, and it's in their book, it's in their Quran, that they have a duty and a responsibility to Allah and Islam to defend and protect Islam. So the reason that Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE are pressuring President Trump to not destroy the Islamic regime is because they literally support the Islamic regime over the United States, right? Welcome to the Middle East. But here's the thing. I have a feeling that President Trump knows exactly what's going on. And I have a feeling that this is why President Trump is openly calling out these countries. And I'm going to explain why. Because I'm going to share his, his most recent post. And I'm going to talk about that, right? But remember, everything President Trump does, there's a reason for that. And even though in his Truth Social statement, President Trump didn't mention which countries pressured him, he openly said in this post, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE. That's important. And let's finish watching this. It's only an 8-minute video, so I'm just going to play the whole thing.
Hi, everybody. So go ahead.
What prompted you to call off the strikes last night?
I was asked to by Saudi Arabia, by UAE, and by Qatar, and by Iran. We were all set to go. It's about at this time right now, and it would have been a massive attack. We're all set to go, but when the allies asked to call it off, you got to sort of say, well, let's see. And the reason they asked is I think there's a deal. There's a deal on Hormuz, and then there will be a deal on the nuclear, or you might call it the denuclearization of Iran. I call it the denuclearization of Iran.
So what should we expect?
We're holding it. We'll just see. We can do it anytime we want. But we were asked by the 3 primary groups. We were also asked by Iran, very strongly, actually. They said, we'd like to make a deal. Now, I don't know what they say, because a lot of times they'll say that to me, and then they'll go out and say, we don't know what he's talking about. Obviously, they don't want to be attacked. And they knew the extent of the attack because they saw it forming.
What happens now?
Well, now what we're doing is we're talking to them in the form of a negotiation. It begins tomorrow afternoon, and we'll see if it's true. I'd love to do that, save a lot of lives, save a lot of unnecessary power, to be honest with you. Take many, many years to ever build it back. If it could, I don't think it would be even buildable back. So we had a...
It will actually be buildable, but for those of you who tuned into Iran Revolution Live today, that video that I shared with you of the father of Sepher, a 12-minute video where the father of Sepher is looking for the body of his murdered son. And we literally see hundreds and hundreds of corpses. Yeah, this is why we Iranians, we say we literally don't care if President Trump or the United States or Israel, if they attack the infrastructure, because infrastructure can be rebuilt. But all those young Iranian people murdered by the Islamic regime, they're never coming back. They're never coming back. Bridges and power plants, they can be rebuilt. We can survive that. But we can never bring back Sepher. We can never bring back Nika Shakarami. We can never bring back Kian Pir Falak. We can never bring back Majid Reza Rahnavard. We can never bring back Mahsa Amini. We can never bring back Nida Agha Sultan. We can bring back bridges and power plants and energy. Like, we can survive that. What we can't survive is the Islamic regime.
We had an attack that would be the biggest attack since World War II, and it would have been disastrous for them.
You know what? I hope it happens. I hope this happens. I pray to God every night that this attack happens.
And they didn't want us to do it. And frankly, Saudi Arabia didn't want it either. They thought that a deal is imminent.
Deadline, sir.
Huh. Right? So, guys, remember, Saudi Arabia is supporting the Muslim Nazis occupying Iran, because at the end of the day, Muslims support Muslims over the infidel, right? So the reason that Saudi Arabia is pressuring President Trump to hold off on the strikes is because Saudi Arabia, at the end of the day, right, Islam is more important to them than human rights. So Saudi Arabia would rather see Iran be occupied by the Islamic regime if it means that, you know, Islam survives. Because the way that Saudi Arabia views this, and guys, this is like the brutal, honest commentary you're not going to get. So Saudi Arabia would rather see a Shia terrorist regime occupy Iran, because right now Saudi Arabia's priority is not Iran. Saudi Arabia's priority is all the non-Muslim countries, because they're engaging in Wahhabism, right? Like Saudi Arabia is exporting their own version of indoctrination around the world. And Saudi Arabia is investing billions of dollars in U.S. universities to indoctrinate U.S. youth, right? So guys, Saudi Arabia has up to this date, Saudi Arabia has invested $1 trillion. $1 trillion in the United States. Okay? And of that $1 trillion, 4.2 billion has been invested in United States Departments of Education. And by the way, when Saudi Arabia invests in American universities, they're literally investing in, Islamic studies, right? Because for some reason, Saudi Arabia wants young Americans, right, who are very impressionable, to learn about the magical world of Islam and Muhammad, and how Muhammad flew on a winged donkey to the moon, right? Remember? Muhammad literally, according to the Muslims, Muhammad rode a donkey with the face of a woman to the moon. And then he visited Jerusalem on the back of this winged donkey. So for some reason, Saudi Arabia has invested over $4 billion in the United States universities to, explain to American children how and why Muhammad rode on a winged donkey to the moon. That's just Saudi Arabia. I haven't even spoken about Qatar, right? But just Saudi Arabia. Anyways, there you go. So let's continue.
The deal is imminent, having to do with the Hormuz Strait, and also ultimately the denuclearization of it. So when I hear that, I say, well, do we want to go and be this? Now, there's a group of people that would like me to just do it. And there's another.
Oh, wait, some people don't believe me that I'm talking about a winged donkey? No, guys, I'm not joking. Yes, guys, let me pull this up for you. I'm guys, I'm not exaggerating, right? Here you go. Here is an image of Muhammad on his winged donkey with the face of a woman, right? So the donkey's name was Barak. No relation to Barack Hussein Obama, by the way. Yes. So, according to Muslims, Muhammad rode a winged donkey with the face of a woman to the moon, and then he also apparently in the same night visited Jerusalem. So there you go, guys. They literally believe this. But then they accuse everyone else of being pagans, right? So, yeah. Like it's, you know what it is for me? It's the double standards. It's how they claim that every other religion is false and that, their book is pure. But then their book literally talks about their prophet flying a winged donkey with the face of a woman to the moon and then to Jerusalem. And remember, guys, so the reason that so guys, actually, this is important. The reason that Muslims believe that they own Jerusalem is because of this story, right? Because apparently Muhammad, the Arab warlord, he flew on a winged donkey with the face of a woman to Jerusalem, and he conquered it, right? He conquered it overnight, and then he came back, and then when he returned, the Jews took over Jerusalem. So the reason that the Muslims claim that Jerusalem belongs to them is because of this fictional story of Muhammad flying to Jerusalem on a donkey with the face of a woman, right? So this whole concept of, jihad against Israel started because of this, because historically, Muhammad, the Arab warlord, pedophile, he never actually physically visited Jerusalem. Like, he never went there physically. So this whole concept of Jerusalem belonging to the Muslims came after Chabad Margish. But yeah, so this is right here. This is the origin story of Muslims claiming that Jerusalem belongs to them. Right? This is the origin story. Anyways, guys, so yeah, so the next time, like, some Durka is telling you that Jerusalem belongs to Islam, just ask them, oh, is it because Muhammad flew there on his winged donkey with the face of a woman? And see what they say. Because they're not banking on you knowing this story, right? They don't want you to know the story. And by the way, those of us who share this story in English, they're like, oh, this is Islamophobia. I'm like, how is this Islamophobia to literally share your own religious beliefs with the rest of the world, right? So remember, Islamophobia is a tool. It's like a shield that the Durkas use to try and silence those of us who know the truth about their religion, right? I mean, guys, believe what you want to believe. I don't care, right? Like, no religion is perfect. But I don't know of any modern day religion that literally believes that they have a claim on Jerusalem because their prophet rode a winged donkey with the face of a woman to the city, okay? I'm just saying, right? Like, I don't know of any other religion that literally believes garbage nonsense like this. But there you go. There you go. Right? All right, let's get back to President Trump. Little field, guys. I took you on a little field trip to the moon. Oh man. Anyways, let's continue now.
When I hear that, I say,
So now you guys know. Now you guys know. Right? Like when I share something with you, or if I share an anecdote with you guys, I'm not exaggerating. Nothing I've ever said so far has been an exaggeration. And remember, I always bring the receipts.
do we want to go and be this? Now, there's a group of people that would like me to just do it. And there's another group of people that does not want me to do it.
Does Iran have a deadline to come to an agreement?
We'll just see how it is. We're ready to go anytime we want. Would I rather make a deal? I'm not looking to kill people. Because people die, a lot of people die, and we don't want that.
You know, and this is what I really appreciate about President Trump, and I really respect him for this, right? Because, you know, at the end of the day, like President Trump, he's a good person, right? He's a good person. You know, he's human. He has a heart. You know, empathy, emotions, all that stuff, and we all know how tough his fight has been, right? He's literally been fighting the globalists. He's been fighting the Democrats. There was election fraud in 2020. Like, he has been fighting all of that. And despite all of that, he came back, and he came back even stronger, okay? But he has a good heart. And, you know, as amazing as President Trump is, he doesn't have the lived experience that we Iranians do when it comes to dealing with the Islamic regime and how ruthless and brutal they are. So I would say, like, the only criticism that I have of President Trump right now is that he's making the same mistake that the Shah of Iran made back in the 1970s. The Shah of Iran, Shahanshah Aryamer, the father of the current Shah of Iran, he was too lenient. He was too lenient on the Muslim Nazis, right? So, for example, Khomeini, when he was sentenced by an independent judiciary, because remember, Khomeini, Khabar Margesh, the founder of the Islamic regime, he actually tried to assassinate Shahanshah Aryamer at least 2 times. And the Shah of Iran forgave him. Even though he was sentenced to death by an independent court, the Shah of Iran at the time said, you know what, I don't want anyone to be murdered in my name. I'm not a fan of death or violence or whatever. So let's just exile him, right? So the Shah of Iran at the time, keep in mind, this is the same Shah that the Muslims and the communists, right, they accuse him of being a dictator, right? So the Shah of Iran exiled Khomeini. He literally pardoned him because he didn't want him to be executed, right? Because no normal human being wants to see others be executed, right? Like that's not a human thing. That's like a jihadi durka thing, like a terrorist thing. So the Shah exiled him. And then what happened? Instead of Khomeini, Khabar Margesh, recognizing and understanding, oh wow, like I've been given a second chance of life, Khomeini, Khabar Margesh, was like, oh okay, the Shah is weak and he allowed me to survive, so I'm going to continue my jihad. And then look what happened in 1979. So you know, that is that's my only criticism of President Trump, is that I just wish he would learn from the Shah's mistake. Because when you're lenient on the Muslim Nazis, they come back stronger because they're literally a cancer, right? And this, what I'm saying right now, it kind of ties in to President Trump's most recent post, right? But like, I have a feeling President Trump knows this and understands this, because President Trump has spoken about the fact that the Islamic regime has murdered over 54,000 people. So he knows that. He said that, which is what leads me to believe that what we're seeing right now, I feel like President Trump is buying time for something. I don't know what it is, but he's buying time for something.
So they asked us, Iran specifically, but the other three said I asked Saudi Arabia, the king. They said, the crown prince. I said, what would you rather do? Would you rather have us do this or not? They said, we would much prefer a deal as opposed to an attack, because you don't know where these attacks lead. I mean, will they be flooded?
Wait, sorry guys, I just want to give a shout out to someone. So Colin, I think Colin is watching the live stream from the beginning. So Colin probably just tuned in. So Colin is probably going to see my shout out to him, I guess in about an hour or so when he catches up to the live stream. But Colin, thank you so much for tuning in from Minneapolis in Minnesota. Guys, everyone, put a C in the chat for Colin if you want to. Let's give a shout out to Colin and everyone who's tuning in and watching. So honestly, like, comments like these give me so much energy. So thank you, Colin. Appreciate you, and welcome. I hope you're enjoying the live stream. And I got Colin, I hope you see all of the comments and all the C's in the live stream chat right now. So cheers to you, Colin. Thank you so much. God bless America. All right, okay, let's go back a little bit here.
Because people die, a lot of people die, and we don't want that. So they asked us, Iran specifically, but the other three said I asked Saudi Arabia, the king. They said, the crown prince. I said, what would you rather do? Would you rather have us do this or not? They said, we would much prefer a deal as opposed to an attack, because you don't know where these attacks lead. I mean, will they be flooded with people pouring into their country and disaster? A lot of bad things can happen.
Will they be flooded with people pouring into their country? Guys, I guarantee you, there is no way in hell that Iranians are ever going to flee the Islamic regime and go to an Arab country. Wow, guys. Okay, you know what? So I guarantee you President Trump does not believe that narrative. But President Trump, he's doing this to call out the Arab countries, right? Like, okay, guys, think about this. So for the last 47 years, the Iranian people have been oppressed by the Islamic regime. And on January 8 and 9, we saw the single largest massacre of any group of people within 2 days alone, right? Because I can't think of any other situation in history where like over 54,000 people were murdered in 2 days, right? Like, I'm not talking about extended genocides. I'm talking about a very short-term genocide, right? But how many Iranian refugees have come to your countries, right? Think about like the Syrian refugees. Think about the Palestinian refugees. Think about the Afghan refugees, and like literally like military-aged men who consider themselves like refugees, and they're all coming to your countries, right? No women and children. Literally, like these Western countries are importing middle-aged men, like military-aged men. Sorry, not middle-aged. Military-aged men from like Syria and Afghanistan and Pakistan and I don't know, whatever stand, Gaza, like the Palestinians, right? They're literally being imported to your countries, and they're turning your countries into like hellholes, right? Like, look at the mass immigration problem in Europe right now. Have you ever heard of like, has any Iranian ever said, "Oh, we need to bring the Iranians to like USA or Canada or whatever," right? Like, I've never even spoken about that once because it's not a thing. Why? Because we Iranians, we don't actually want to leave Iran. We're trying to reclaim our country from the Muslim Nazi occupation, right? So the only reason that 10% of the Iranian population lives outside of occupied Iran is because we literally escaped Islam. And you guys, like the vast majority of you, right? Like, you don't even notice that Iranians live in your countries because we're very Western minded, Western oriented, because the values of the Iranian Empire, and I'm talking about like the pre-Islamic Iranian civilization, right? Like the Persian civilization from 3,000 years ago. The values that we have as Iranians, right, before Islam, those values actually inspired modern day Western society and culture. So that's why Iranians, like, we integrate very well into Western societies. So this is actually hilarious that President Trump is calling out the Arab countries, and the Arab countries like, oh, we don't want an influx of Iranian refugees. Yeah, as guys, I'm telling you, no Iranian would ever escape the Islamic regime and go to Saudi Arabia or Qatar or UAE. Like, are you insane? That would be like going from the frying pan into the fire. Okay? That's how insane it is. So ask yourselves this question. How come no one is talking about Iranian refugees? When, you know what, keep in mind, after the Palestinian terrorists attacked Israel on October 7, right? And the Palestinians were like, oh, no, 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 jihad. And they literally murdered over 1,200 Jewish people in Israel, right? Just because they were Jewish. They literally murdered men, women, and children. As soon as that happened, all of a sudden, the entire world was like, oh, the Gaza refugees. We need to import Gaza refugees to protect them from the genocide, right? Like, the Durkas were literally talking about this so-called fake genocide. Oh, wait. Okay, wait. All right. President Trump is on Fox News. Okay, guys.
If they back out again, are they done?
Well, if they back out again, they're going to get hit really hard. You know, they know that. They understand that. I have no choice. They can't have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. It's not like, gee, let's, think about something else. No, it should have been done by many presidents over many years, and it wasn't. And I'm doing it. Obama was taken to the cleaners. He thought he could bribe his way out. He gave them billions, tens of billions of dollars, so stupidly. 1.7 billion in cash, green cash, on a Boeing 757, an airplane loaded up with cash. They probably looked at it. They said, you got to be kidding. No, you can't bribe your way out. All you can do is fight your way out. And if they didn't, they wouldn't be talking if we weren't doing what we're doing. We hit them very, very hard, but the hard hit is yet to come, and hopefully we won't have to use it. I hope we won't have to. We're having very good discussions. They don't like to admit that, but it's a little bit disconcerting. You tell people like you, we're having wonderful discussions, and then some guy will come out of Iran and say, we have not met, we have not, it's just such a lie. All day long, you understand, it's just incredible. We didn't talk, they'll say, we didn't talk about nuclear. Well, what do we talk about? We're sitting there twiddling our thumbs, right? So, but it doesn't matter, that's talk. The only thing that matters is action, and they want to make a deal. We'll see what happens. If they don't make a deal, it's going to be too bad.
And we have much more on Iran coming up. Meantime, let's bring in our panel. Truth Social Senior Communications Advisor, Katie Zachariah, former Trump campaign Deputy Communications Director, Caroline Sunshine, and former GOP National Spokeswoman, Elizabeth Pipko. Thank you all for coming on. It's kind of interesting to you, Caroline. The president doesn't really like to talk about it. I mean, this is kind of a dangerous guy. He was apparently heavily weaponed. I mean, he had a lot of firepower, some logistical stuff with him. The president doesn't really want to talk about that stuff.
You know, it's interesting. This is obviously my first time seeing the interview with the audience. And before the president even said what he said, I thought the exact same thing, where he said this only happens to people who are consequential. That's funny. That was my first thought, because it's so true. You look at every American president who has had either, unfortunately, a successful assassination attempt or unsuccessful ones: Lincoln, JFK, Ronald Reagan, Donald J. Trump. In the weirdest way, it's very good company to be in. But you know, I really am impressed with the way that the president carries on every day, the resoluteness that he brings to the job. And it affirms for me how important his presidency is, and why I want our Republican establishment to get on board and realize who we have at the helm and keep it going. We have a special guy. We got to do good things for him.
You know what's interesting about it, Katie, is that, you know, when you talk to the president about this, he initially will say something with it, and then he kind of moves off the topic very quickly. But you look at the Secret Service roaming around the Trump National Golf Club, and they are on high alert and constantly moving.
Yeah, they caught this guy 2 days ahead of President Trump arriving here, and that's better than they had at West Palm Beach with the first attempted assassination trace. So they're on high alert. They're doing exactly what they need to do. President Trump moved on so quickly at the White House after the White House Correspondents' Dinner. He was at the podium. He was in the Oval Office. He was making jokes. He moved on because he knows that the country is more important than what he feels is a threat to him.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of just takes it in stride, Elizabeth Pipko. And as we drove in, you're seeing pictures there of Trump National Golf Club. And as we drove in tonight, they had a lot of Trump protesters on one side of the street, and they had some Trump supporters on the other side of the street. But he kind of goes through this all the time. And then you kind of wend your way down to the actual country club. And then from there on, it is Secret Service after Secret Service, and you got to have ID after ID, a lot of things before you actually get inside that building, for good reason. Elizabeth.
For incredibly good reason, Trace. Look, as has already been said several times tonight, this is the most consequential leader that we've ever seen, not just in the United States of America, but I think worldwide. And I think that's why he faces as much opposition as he does. And with that, that's why he's loved the way that he is. And I think for someone like him, I like to imagine myself back on that campaign in 2016, the few times I got to either interact with him or see him come and talk to our team, it's almost like he was prepared back then, over 10 years ago, knowing this is exactly what was going to happen, knowing he was not going to be another leader that went in and did absolutely nothing, and knowing that with those strong actions and with that courage, unfortunately, would come some really dark days, but also some incredibly bright ones as well.
Yeah, meantime, more of our Fox News at Night exclusive, because we talked about the breaking news at the top of the newscast, right? We had Kevin Corke and Rich Edson. The Democrat Party facing kind of a crisis of identity as socialist candidates surge in popularity. The party facing another critical test tonight in Michigan. And I spoke with the president one-on-one for his thoughts on the enormous changes that are happening right now in the Democratic Party. And he's fascinated by this, but he also thinks there is a reason, and he said the following. Sir, thank you for doing this for us. We very much appreciate this. One of the big stories of the day, we'll talk about the markets. The markets were way up today, but one of the big stories, of course, is the primaries in Michigan, specifically, where it looks like Abdul El Sayed is going to win, has a very good chance to win that Senate race, at least his primary race. What do you think about the traction these candidates who are backed by the DSA and members of the DSA are getting?
Well, I think it's crazy because they're going to ruin our country. They want to, I don't know if they want to. I think either they're very naive or they
Don't
actually
trust
want to
any
ruin the country.
Abduls, guys.
No matter where you look, go back 1,000 years with different names. Anybody doing what they're doing and what they're espousing, everything turns out to ashes and junk and filth. You know, one thing I said the other day, for the first time ever, never thought of it, but you go to these cities that are taken over by the socialists and the communists, they're always filthy dirty. They're disgusting. They're always dirty. And, you know, I'm a clean person, and people I know are clean. They like that. And you are. I know you very well. You're very clean. But aside from crime, aside from all of the other problems, no jobs, no anything, no money, they're always filthy, disgusting, dirty.
Smell.
And that's what you'll get. You know, I won Michigan. I did great in Michigan, and we should win. We have a man, Mike Rogers is going to be fantastic. Now, I'm not a big believer in polls, but I believe in him somewhat. And based on the polls, he'll do much better against Abdul than he's going to do against the Congresswoman.
Do you think, sir, that the Republican Party is hitting home the facts that these people literally want to open up the prisons? They want to privatize. They literally want to get rid of private insurance. They want Medicare for all, which means private insurance for none. Are they hammering that home so people get an idea of how radical these agendas are?
Well, outside of you and people that happen to be in Fox and a few others, they don't talk about it. Really, they don't. You turn on NBC fake news or ABC, which is the worst of all, or CBS or CNN, any of them. They don't talk about that. They talk about as positive as you can talk, which isn't easy to do. But they don't talk about the consequences, because it's all about the consequences. And a guy like this is just look at his views, and then they change the views for the election. Now they're actually having to go a little bit right, which is very hard for them to do. But it's a very sad thing when you look at it. And as far as the Republicans, look, the Republicans talk about it. It's not put on, but they've got to get tougher. They've got to talk, and they've got to talk about how well we're doing. I watched Laura before, and she was saying this is the most incredible. She's giving the numbers, the financial numbers of the trade numbers that just came out today. Our trade deficit is way down. There's never been anything. It's never gone down in history like it has during this a little bit more than a year. Think of that. And she was going over just point after point. I'm saying, how many people report this? People don't know. Then they saw in the economy, Trump is at 42%. I shouldn't be at 40. We have the greatest economy maybe in the history of the world for any country. We have $19.2 trillion being invested in the United States. And if I wouldn't have won, you would have had 10 trillion being taken out of the United States, and your welfare would have doubled and tripled, and we would have had a bankrupt.
Yeah, and the reason I asked him that question, Caroline Sunshine, is because, a lot of people wonder if the Republican Party is hammering this home enough. I mean, we hear a lot of times they toss around the word socialism, communist, socialist, but are they really kind of talking about the consequences that the Republican Party and the whole nation could be facing when you're talking about things like just open up the prisons, get rid of them, and let everybody go, and then you have, let's talk about insurance, right? Healthcare, Medicare for all means you are not going to have private insurance in this country, and you're going to be a candidate where you have to wait 5.5 weeks to get a physical.
Yeah, well, this is a great interview, by the way. I'm really enjoying watching this. I love that the president makes time to do these. Great chemistry. I'm just enjoying it. I love hearing from the president. I love that he makes the time to talk endlessly with the press and talk directly to the American people about this. And if you notice, the socialist candidates always come for law and order first, and that's by design. They have to get rid of police. They have to get rid of ICE. They have to get rid of the guardrails that keep society safe so that they can push through their agenda. And what we've seen is a lot of these socialist candidates, they're pretty slick talkers, right? We've seen the Mamdanis. We've seen some of these socialist candidates. They're real slick. But you notice the stance that they all distance from when they're pressed on it is law and order. Anytime they have past comments about defund the police, they try to score them away for those because they don't want to have to own that, because they know how unpopular that is with the American people. The president also mentioned Michigan. He won Michigan in 2024.
Yeah, and he said that. Yeah,
and he did that partly. I just want to, because it's so important. Historic win for him. He won it partly by winning Arab American Democrats. He flipped the endorsement of the Democrat mayor in Hamtramck, Michigan, Amir Ghalib. We think El Sayed's going to be, our guy. President Trump has given Republicans the playbook on how to keep Michigan.
It's interesting. We talk about this whole thing where there's crime and the Democrats are, the Democrats have become, because they love to, as part of the agenda, to show how much they hate things, right? Oh, we loathe, it's Israel, we hate this. And they have a lot of hatred for a lot of things. But boy, when you start breaking the law, they start to fall back in love again, Ketty, and it's just kind of a weird dynamic.
Well, it's not a winning message to defund the police, and yet they keep resurfacing this message. What did the DSA platform say? We want to defund the police, defund ICE, but they have to keep coming back. People want safe cities. President Trump has brought crime down to historic lows since like 1900. We're at a 126-year low, Trace, and people want this. So the socialist agenda is going to further detach them from the Democrat establishment, and the Democrat establishments are going to have to start saying, yes, we want ICE, yes, we want police.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Elizabeth Pipko, what you think about the trend here, the Democratic Socialists of America and the candidates being backed by the DSA, like Al-Said. I'm wondering what your take on this. You know, a lot of people say, oh, it was the Tea Party, and they were a big thing, and then they kind of fell apart, and there's still parts of it still moving. What is your thought on the growing popularity of the DSA?
Well, look, I think they're going to continue to grow. I think we're going to see that tonight. We're going to see that next week with the primary in Wisconsin. And we're going to see it with the demise, ultimately, of the Democrat Party, which I think is exactly what they deserve, considering Donald Trump warned about this socialist takeover back in 2015, long before he was ever elected to the Oval Office. He was laughed at. He was told he was wrong by several senior leaders in the Democrat Party. And like with many other things, Trace, he was proven to be 100% correct. But again, in our country, socialism, which is the easy way out, will always lose. There's a reason that to our capitalist society, thousands of people try to come every single year because they know that in our country, hard work and big ideas will always win. It's why Donald Trump was admired long before he was ever president, and it's why socialism will always lose out to those who want to make the world a better place.
Yeah, panel stand by if you would. Thank you. Coming up, deal or decapitation? Iran talks apparently moving forward. You heard the president a short time ago talking a little bit about Iran. We got deeper into the conversation, and the president appears to be running out of patience, saying it is their last chance to avoid devastating consequences. At what point do you say enough? And there's no coming back for Iran.
Well, I have plenty of time.
Much more to come from my exclusive interview with President Trump, including what he says it will take to end the war with Iran. Next.
All right, guys. So I think that's a really good place to end the live stream, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow. So yeah, I'm gonna end the live stream now. And you guys are just going to have to wait tomorrow for what President Trump says about Iran. Is that okay? I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. I'm not going anywhere. Oh my gosh, guys, no! I'm trolling you. No, guys, we're not going to go anywhere. Obviously, I want to watch the live thing. We're going to do a live watch party of President Trump's interview. yeah, cliffhanger. Trump is, yeah, guys, I'm telling you. Okay, you know what? I can troll you a little bit. I can troll you a little bit, guys. I know. You know what? I got you guys good. I got you guys good. This was like, you know, remember the time? Yeah, I Goldie rolled you guys, right? So remember the time that I convinced you guys that I didn't know what iced tea is, and then all of you Americans, you were trying to like explain to me what iced tea is, and I was like, what's iced tea? I'm Canadian. Oh no, oh no, you got me. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, I got you guys. Sorry. Okay, I won't do it again. I won't do it again. Don't worry, guys. I'm not going anywhere. Oh no.
The healthy little boy running around, playing all the time. Childhood cancer is absolutely crushing. Hope is coming in these walls every day as he fights the battle of his life.
The search for cures must continue. Join with your credit or debit card for only $19 a month, and we'll send you this St. Jude t-shirt you can proudly wear to show your support.
I can't watch commercials like this because I start crying. Guys, I literally spent my entire childhood crying over like the SPCA commercials, you know, with like the animals. And then, you know, they sing that Sarah McLachlan song. So, I mean, this is a great charity, but stuff like this breaks my heart. Like, children with cancer, I will deal with Durkas all day and all night. Like, I will fight against the Durkas tooth and nail. But, children with cancer, I break down. I break down. What is this?
Coverage satisfaction. Save up to half with unlimited everything.
Yeah, okay, I don't know what this is. Guys, let's get to, you know what? I don't understand American commercials, so I'm just going to play Canadian commercials, okay? I'm just going to play Canadian commercials for you guys until President Trump comes back, okay? So just enjoy Canadian commercials instead.
Before YouTube, before streaming, there were the commercials we never skipped. The ones that played between our favorite cartoons, family shows, and Saturday morning
whatever.
made every Canadian
Get to the commercial.
line. This and the best frees every kid in the room. Astar flipped through lasers.
What is this random commercial? Here we go. Let's just share some Canadian commercials. Here you go, guys.
Trust your natural instincts. They'll lead you to a revolutionary kind of feminine protection that's pure, natural.
That missing ingredient.
Here we go. Let's go to Lipton.
Here comes the little Tom. Come on, Tommy. Eat your meatloaf. Yeah. Want to play airplanes with Mommy? I know you want to play outside. Here comes the little Tommy airplane.
Does your meatloaf need perking up? Maybe all it needs is a pouch of Lipton onion soup mix. Lipton onion soup mix. It could be that missing ingredient.
Thursday on an all-new Traders.
Steel manufacturing is the apex of Canadian industry.
I have an ulterior motive for inviting you this weekend. Adam, I want you to be the first person outside the immediate family to join our board.
Something's really wrong.
So you told me that you love me just
News
so
at
that
9.
you heard
We are
that.
live just up the road from Trump National Golf Club. Right behind us, you can see the boats. This is
Commercial.
San Pedro
Oh,
Harbor. And if
shoot.
you keep going out on the boats, you run into the
My
Long
browser
Beach
lost
Marina.
audio,
And then
guys.
beyond
Sorry.
That, you have the Port of Los Angeles. You might recall that during
My
COVID, the
browser
Port of
lost
Los
audio.
Angeles,
One
we
moment.
would bring cameras down here because the ships were lined up miles and miles
You didn't miss
away
anything. You didn't
because
miss
they
anything.
could not offload it. This is just down the road from Trump National, where the president attended an RNC roundtable and reception a short while ago. President Trump has given Iran every last chance to reach a deal before the U.S. carries out a more punishing military operation. I spoke exclusively with the president tonight on what the next steps might be.
You touched on Iran. It's got to feel like Groundhog Day to you. So, I mean, they're in. They want a deal. The deal's off. I mean, at what point do you say enough? And there's no coming back for Iran.
Well, I have plenty of time. People talk about the midterms. For the midterms, they want to see winning. In Venezuela, people were so opposed to what I did in Venezuela. It lasted one day. And now they look, we're making hundreds of billions of dollars, and so are they. They're getting, Venezuela's like a different place, but we're taking out hundreds of billions of dollars. They're taking out hundreds of billions of dollars. It's a different place. It's actually become, they had the tragedy the other day with the problem, as you know, but that was a terrible problem. The earthquake, I guess you'd call it. It was a bad one. But outside of that, they have a country that is a very happy country again, but we paid for the cost of that war many, many times over. Where have you heard that? But everybody was against it. And then when I won, they all think it was great. But nobody talks about it anymore, so I have to talk about it. Nobody talks about the fact that we have the safest border in history. And I probably got elected partially, at least in big part, because of the fact that the border was so bad. 25 million people. People say 14, it's only 19, or it's only 22. It's 25 million people. It's probably more than that. They came pouring into totally unchecked and unvetted, pouring into our country. And many of these people are not the people you want in our country. We have drug lords. We have many people, millions of people from prisons. 11,000, you've heard me say it, 888 murderers, most of whom, or many of whom, committed more than one murder. We're getting them all out. We've got so many of them out. We're doing such a good job. But with the hardest thing we inherited the worst inflation in the history of our country. But the worst thing we inherited was the fact that Biden allowed 25 million people, they would not have qualified, many of them, most of them, but many of them, to come into the country. And we're getting them out.
Why is it, you think, that nobody is talking about the fentanyl deaths? The fentanyl deaths have come way down since the border has closed. It should be one of those prime topics because we have saved tens of thousands of lives in a short period. You look at the numbers from just a couple of years ago, they have come down dramatically. It doesn't seem to be a topic.
68%. I'll tell you what, by sea, by ocean, 97.2%. 97%. Now, you've seen the pictures of the boats, and it's all horrible. But when you think that each time you knock out a boat, you're saving 10,000 people, more than that, probably, they say 25,000. You know, they're carrying massive amounts of fentanyl. And that's an occupation that's very hard to fill right now. Nobody does it. Nobody would have done what I did. But we're down over 97% in drugs coming in by sea. And now we've started a very heavy push for drugs coming in by land, which is actually comes through Mexico, which is actually much easier. The sea is the hardest, but we have a solution to that. Basically they can't do it anymore. They don't get away with it. We know every boat that's coming in. We know who it is and what's on that boat. And it's largely fentanyl and other really bad drugs. So we're down 97%, but we're down the numbers on fentanyl. If you would have said that you were going to do that, nobody would believe it. They say it's just a politician talking. Much higher than anybody ever thought was even possible. People thought if we could get it down 2 or 3%, it would be good. We got it down 67, 68%. Nobody's seen, and that's why your fentanyl numbers look so good.
Back live now with Caroline Sunshine, Katie Zachariah, and Elizabeth Pipko. We're going to get back to Iran, Caroline, but I was just I found the conversation fascinating when he was talking about the border, because you have seen crime rates drop across the country and nobody gives the border credit. And you have seen fentanyl deaths drop across the country, and nobody gives the Trump administration credit for that, because then you would have to hate ICE less, I guess.
Right. I'm so glad you brought this up, Trace, because it's a really underreported story, and so many Americans and their families have suffered because of the deaths of fentanyl. And President Trump always says, no drugs, no drinking, no smoking, and he's totally right. But so many Americans, unfortunately, do struggle with addiction. And it's because of drugs like fentanyl that are highly addictive. And we have to remember that it wasn't just millions of people who came across our wide open border under Biden. It was drugs, and it was drugs that killed Americans. Want to mention also, there have been zero border crossings the last 14 months under President Trump. That's what a change of leadership does. Not only that, the president has gone further. He's designated drug cartels for the first time in our nation's history as foreign national terrorist organizations, meaning they now share the same designation as Hezbollah, which they absolutely deserve. So bang up job by the president.
I mean, I was talking about this, Katie, where, a lot of times we on the air say, listen, the chaos happened. People say, oh, Trump chaos. The chaos happened in the previous administration when you let all those illegal immigrants in. Cleaning up the chaos can sometimes be messy, but it's necessary, and that's what we have been seeing for the past 18 months.
Absolutely, and President Trump is right. He's not getting enough praise for the decrease in fentanyl deaths. And the other component of this, Trace, is how tough he was with China. He said to China, I will keep a 20% tariff no matter what, as long as you continue manufacturing fentanyl precursors, and they dropped it. That combined with the lowest, if not to none, border crossing in the history, plus a strong ICE. He has been the most effective president for the border and interior enforcement.
Back to Iran, Elizabeth Pipko, for you, because I asked the president directly. It's like Groundhog Day. The Iranians said they want to cut a deal, and then the deal's off, and then they want to come back. And I think you can tell by his body language when he says it, he's done. He's had enough of this. It's going to happen, or it's not going to happen.
I called it. I called
I
it.
completely agree, Trace. And I think when it comes to President Trump, when it comes to what's been going on here, he should be applauded, right? Instead of criticized for being able to restrain himself, he should be applauded for wanting to exhaust every single diplomatic possible option that he has in front of him before he has to unleash what he knows will be a very destructive attack. He knows how capable our incredible military is in the U.S., and he knows he doesn't want to do this. He also knows he's the only one that has the courage to do this. I can tell you, Trace, we're getting close right now to the 25th anniversary of 9/11, a day that I remember living through as a first grader in New York City. And since that day, I think growing up, I waited for a leader to enter into the White House that I believed would have the courage to stand up against absolute evil. And unlike those before him, Donald Trump actually has that courage.
Yeah, it's it is coming up. Very sad but true. Elizabeth Pipko, thank you very much. Coming up, President Trump sounds off on blue state leaders, big tech, and AI data center battles. You got to hear what he said about this.
Okay, so it seems like the rest of this Fox News Live is about other American topics, and all respect and all love to Americans, but we're of course just focused on the Iran geopolitical conflict. So you'll have to watch that on your own if you want to watch it live. I apologize. However, what's really interesting is that the Fox News analyst and everyone else was pretty much saying what I've been saying, is that President Trump sounds like he's made up his mind. And the reason for this delay is because something is cooking behind the scenes, right? Something is cooking behind the scenes. That brings me to President Trump's most recent truth, guys. Most recent truth. Because, yeah. Let me share this. So, when I tell you, guys, when I tell you that when it comes to the Islamic regime, if their lips are moving, they are lying, I'm not exaggerating. Because let's take a look at what President Trump posted. This was earlier yesterday. Iranian leadership. I mean, by Iranian leadership, he actually means the Islamic regime, right? So Islamic regime occupying Iran is unbelievably duplicitous. Guys, I mean, this is why, like, I don't know, someone should tell President Trump, you want to understand how to deal with the Muslim Nazis? Just give me a call. Give me a call. I will literally give you advice for free, President Trump. Because I could have said this to you from the beginning. Guys, unbelievably duplicitous. That is just another way of saying if their lips are moving, they are lying. So once again, Goldie is always right, because I called it before President Trump pointed it out. Remember, I've been saying on Newsmax and other interviews that I've been on, literally, I've said this. I've said if their lips are moving, they are lying. Now, President Trump basically is saying the exact same thing about the Islamic regime occupying Iran that I have been saying. So, once again, Goldie is always right. I may be early. Guys, remember, I may be early, but I'm rarely wrong when it comes to my geopolitical analysis when it comes to the Islamic regime. Anyway, so President Trump continues, and he says, they ask for a meeting. Some would say beg. Guys, they're literally begging. Talks begin, with more scheduled in the immediate future, and they say openly and proudly that they're not having any discussions, that nothing is being talked about, and they're only dealing with Oman. Remember, guys, those of you who watched Iran Revolution Live yesterday, that Pakistani communist, he was like, oh, the Islamic regime has the upper hand because Oman and Pakistan are helping them. And, I literally laughed hysterically for 10 minutes at that one idiotic comment, right? Anyways, President Trump continues. They then go on to give their usual blather in saying The Strait of Hormuz will be operated powerfully by them when it is already completely controlled by the U.S. Navy and our blockade, or as some say, the U.S. Wall of Steel. Nothing gets through to Iran unless we want it to, and nothing will get through unless a deal or total surrender. Guys, remember, I've been telling you for months, President Trump said from the get-go, unconditional surrender. Unconditional surrender. Many of you forgot about that post from President Trump. Many of you forgot that he said unconditional surrender. Now keep in mind, the deal that President Trump wants in and of itself is unconditional surrender. So President Trump is basically saying, you will either willingly agree to surrender and just, dissipate and go to hell, go to your Islamic hell where you belong, or we will boom you and send you to your Islamic hell where you belong, right? So, deal or total surrender. That's what President Trump is talking about, okay? Whether Iran, he means the Islamic regime, wants to admit it or not, we are, in fact, talking of a solution to a problem that they have caused for decades. It is very simple. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So President Trump isn't really mincing words. He's basically saying either the Muslim Nazis agree to the terms that President Trump wants, right? And remember, those terms are complete, they have to get rid of their nuclear weapons program. They have to allow the United States to go in and remove the enriched uranium. They have to agree to stop funding their jihadi terrorist groups in the Middle East, right? Like Hamas and like the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, I don't know, Durka, whatever, and like the Hezbollah and the Houthis and, like the Hashd-e-Shabi and the Afghan Fatimiyun and like the Pakistani terrorist groups, right? So the Islamic regime also has to agree to stop funding all of their proxy terrorist groups. The Islamic regime has to agree to severely limit its ballistic missile program. And of course, the Islamic regime has to stop, engaging in piracy in the Strait of Hormuz. Those are the 5 conditions that President Trump has always said from the beginning, right? Like these 5 terms have been non-negotiable. This has been President Trump's red line. And the Islamic regime will never, ever, ever agree to any of this because if they do so, that is pretty much a surrender. Guys, I'm losing my voice, so I'm going to have to end my live stream soon. Sorry. Let me, where's my lozenges, guys? Let me find, okay, let me take, sorry. Let me take a lozenge. Sorry, guys. Oh my gosh, so embarrassing. I can't even, yeah. Oh, God. You know what? I should literally be sponsored. Like, I'm literally having a Ricola lozenge. So, Ricola, if you're watching this, I'm literally giving you free advertising right now. So, there you go. Anyways, but like it actually really does help soothe my, yeah, Ricola. You know what? Actually, maybe we'll do this. Maybe we'll go to a quick commercial break while the Ricola does its charm. Because I just... Ricola! There. There you go, Robert. I I just need time for the Ricola to like do its thing. So here you go. Ricola commercial.
Ricola. Ricola.
Pleasant tasting Ricola is blended from organically grown Swiss alpine herbs and other natural ingredients. Ricola, natural herb cough drops from Switzerland. Now available and sugar-free, naturally.
Oh my gosh, guys, the Ricola commercial is suggesting my current live stream. Oh my gosh, that's so weird. But no, like guys, the Ricola, it literally works. It literally works. So anyways, but like I feel my throat feels so much better now. Anyways, okay, so let's get back to President Trump. Where was I? Okay, I was here. So so where President Trump is saying, right? So he's talking about deal or total surrender, okay? So the deal, keep in mind, if the Islamic regime agrees to the deal, that is pretty much a surrender, because one of the reasons that the Islamic regime has remained in power for so long is through its terrorist proxy groups. Because keep in mind, whenever the Iranian people try to rise up, the Islamic regime, they'll bring in their proxy groups, right? And the proxy groups, right, like the non-Iranians from Afghanistan or Pakistan or, you know, Iraq or Lebanon or, you know, Gaza or Syria or wherever, you know, even like the African, you know, jihadis, the Islamic regime will bring them in and they will literally murder Iranians. And for those of you who were watching Iran Revolution Live earlier today, day 205, I shared a news article where, you know, the Iranian people inside of occupied Iran who are preparing to overthrow the Islamic regime, they were basically saying that that these foreigners are, you know, going around the country acting as if the country belongs to them, and the Iranian people are basically the invaders, right? And they're claiming that Iran is like a prize of Islam. So there you go. Anyway, so all that to say, again, guys, you have to look at this holistically. Prime Minister Netanyahu met with Trump just this past week. Prime Minister Netanyahu didn't just randomly travel to the United States with his, you know, top military advisors and, you know, top political confidants because he just wants like the best American hot dog recipe, right? Like, they're going there for a reason. And President Trump made that very clear. And keep in mind, the last time that Prime Minister Netanyahu visited the United States, that was in mid-February, and 2 weeks later, Khamenei was dead. So I have a feeling, right, based on President Trump's body language and the way that he's speaking, he's already made up his mind. He's already made up his mind. And the fact that President Trump is now calling out the Islamic regime, right? Unbelievably duplicitous, right? And I told you guys, if their lips are moving, they're lying. And this is what I mean. So in the earlier post from President Trump, where he was saying that, you know, some of the American allies were encouraging him to pause the strikes, right? He called out those allies, and now he's pretty much calling out those allies again, because he's saying the Islamic regime is lying. So who are these allies, and why are they supporting the Islamic regime? So keep all of that in mind. If you guys want to know what the actual military strategy is, I have no idea. And I would say that anyone who claims that they know what the military strategy is, that's basically just like clickbait, right? Because right now there are a lot of YouTubers and a lot of people on social media and elsewhere who are engaging in rage bait, And I just think that's very insensitive to the Iranian people, because at the end of the day, even though on the Goldie Show, right, like I keep an objective analysis, right? So the Goldie Show is like an objective geopolitical analysis. I put on my politician hat and I kind of like translate all the politics for you guys. But at the end of the day, right, like I'm still Iranian. And so, I have feelings, I have emotions, like, I have certain ways that I think about things. But on the Goldie Show, I compartmentalize that, right? So I talk about like my feelings and my thoughts and what I want to see on Iran Revolution Live. But of course, the Goldie Show is the objective geopolitical analysis. But all that to say is just be very careful about what you might be hearing in the next few days. No one can predict what President Trump is going to do. No one can predict what the military strategy is going to be. Keep in mind, when President Trump exterminated Khamenei, like the piece of garbage that he was on February 28, no one predicted that. Not even me. Not even me, right? Like, up until that point, I had basically said, keep faith in President Trump. I know President Trump is going to do something. I don't know what it is, but I have a feeling he's going to do something. And then, of course, Khamenei was dead. But I never predicted that. Like, never in a million years would I have thought that this entire, conflict or humanitarian intervention would have started with President Trump sending Khamenei, who's the modern day Hitler, back to hell where he belongs. And, God bless America for that. God bless Israel for that. But again, like no one can predict what's going to happen. The best analysis that you can ever get is people looking at what is currently happening and taking a holistic, approach and perspective and just, giving an analysis, right? And analysis, sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. However, all I can say is that based on everything that I'm seeing so far, like all roads lead to boom booms, right? Like all roads right now are leading to boom booms. And the last time I checked, we have some boom booms happening in occupied Iran. However, no one knows where those boom booms are. Oh no. Sorry guys. Okay guys. Okay. Guys, I need another Goldie is always right. Someone give me a Goldie is always right hashtag, please. Look at this, guys. Okay, so this is sort of related. You know how I've been basically saying that the Islamic regime is collapsing and, guys, the game of Durka just intensified. The game of Durka just intensified. So, Iranian Islamic regime lawmakers were gathering evidence to seek the impeachment of Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, senior lawmaker Hossein Ali Haji Deligani. چه اسم کیری داری؟ Hossein Ali Haji Deligani said on Tuesday. Hossein Ali. It's like you can't figure out which dead imam you want to worship, so you like Hossein Ali دوتاشون. یه حسن هم میذاشتی حسین حسن علی دیگه. حسین حسن علی میذاشتی دیگه خبر مرگت خیلی راحت میشد. Anyways, we are compiling and collecting documentation for the impeachment of Abbas Araghchi so that we can initiate it at the appropriate time, said Haji Deligani, first deputy chair of Parliament's Article 90 committee. He also said that talks during the U.S. ceasefire were inappropriate, describing the word negotiation as signal for renewed war. Guys, see this? I told you. The Muslim Nazis are literally freaking out over the fact that President Trump is claiming that they are negotiating, right? The Durkas hate the negotiations because the Durkas have been yelling, you know, death to America, the great Satan, Allahu Akbar, jihad, whatever, for the last 47 years. And now they're literally impeaching the guy, right, guys? The game of Durka just intensified. Anyways, so the Durkas continue. He said any agreement that violated Iran, he means Islamic regime's sovereignty or ceded control over any part of its territorial waters would breach the Constitution. Right? So there you go, guys. The game of Durka is intensifying. President Trump knows exactly what's going on. The Islamic regime is, you know, the infighting is continuing and they are slowly collapsing, right? So this actually, you know what's interesting? Guys, this goes back to my YouTube, like my interview on I-24 News, okay? I'm actually going to end my live stream with my interview on I-24 News because I posted this video a couple of days ago, and I'm really surprised. Like, it's a 4.5 minute video. It already has 265,000 views. I'm kind of proud of myself for that. But in this interview, here, it's this one here, and I'll share this with you guys before I end the live stream, but it's this one here. So if you go to Iran Explained, it's there, and if you also go to, you know, TV, media, interviews, and speeches, you'll find it there. It's also pinned at the top of my page. You can't see it right now because I'm currently, you know, live, so my live stream is showing. But on my interview on I-24, I literally called out Abbas Araghchi, and I said the regime is collapsing. I think it was this one. I think it was this one. If it wasn't this one, then it was my Newsmax video. But for those of you who watched Iran Revolution Live yesterday, day 204, I also spoke about it on, you know, Al Arabia, the Saudi news network, which is like the Saudi version of the Piers Morgan show or whatever. But anyways, guys, I digress. Let me get to your Q&A, and then I'm going to have to end the live stream because it's getting late, and I do have an early morning tomorrow. So Wes Downer, what do you think of the idea that Trump is actually trying to make a deal with Saudi Arabia rather than Iran and having a really hard time? Well, I mean, President Trump is definitely trying to get Saudi Arabia to sign on to the Abraham Accords because President Trump understands that if the Saudis recognize Israel as an official state, then every other Muslim country will have to, because Islam comes from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia will never actually sign the Abraham Accords. There's no way. It's not going to happen, okay? So, yeah, President Trump is basically calling out Saudi Arabia on this, but I don't know what sort of deal you think he's trying to make with Saudi Arabia over the Islamic regime. President Trump's not actually interested in a deal with the Islamic regime. The deal is just for show, because President Trump knows that the Islamic regime is never going to agree to anything anyway, and the deal that President Trump wants the Islamic regime to sign is essentially a surrender deal. So when it comes to the Islamic regime, President Trump has put them in a, you know, checkmate situation. When it comes to the Saudis, it's a little different. However, you know, President Trump, he's old enough to remember when during the Arab Gulf embargo and the U.S. military fleet was stranded, and the Arab countries, including Saudi Arabia, refused to provide oil to the U.S. military fleet. The Shah of Iran, Shahanshah Aryamer, he provided oil to the United States military fleet when the Arabs refused to. Because at the end of the day, the Muslims will always support one another. Keep that in mind, right? And President Trump is old enough to remember that. Let me just actually play that part for you guys, because that's actually, you know, it's really important to remember, like, guys, history matters. History matters. Those who know their history will understand what's going on right now. So,
he liberated women.
let me just find the part here. Okay. Here we go. So, President Trump is old enough to remember this current situation, okay?
And it may pay to be an enemy. I think what we have to understand is that the Shah was the best friend of the United States in that area, in the whole Persian Gulf area, and it was Israel's only friend. The Shah, we must remember, in the 1973 war, furnished oil for our Mediterranean fleet when the other countries in the area cut it off. And the Shah tied down the Iraqi forces by supporting the Kurds against the Iraqis so that they never got involved in the 73 war. And I know that the Shah, when he spoke in Mexico about what had happened, he could not.
Anyways, so that's just the part I want to share, right? So during the Arab oil embargo, when the Arab Muslim countries, all of the Arab Muslim countries in the Middle East and the Persian Gulf, and, you know, President Richard Nixon calls it by its correct name, the Persian Gulf. All of the Arab countries in the Persian Gulf, they refused to give the United States oil. Why? Because the United States was supporting Israel. And all of the Arab countries are against Israel. Iran, right? We're not Arab, okay? We're not an Arab country. We're Iranian. We have a different culture. We have a different civilization. Iran, and President Richard Nixon correctly pointed out, Iran was the only ally of Israel in the Middle East before the Durkas took over. And Iran was the most important ally of the United States in the Middle East, because the Shah of Iran kept all the Durkas in line. And it was, unfortunately, Jimmy Carter and the Democrats stabbed the Shah of Iran in the back, right? Push-ups, you're absolutely right. The Shah of Iran came to the rescue of Oman and Pakistan several times, and they stabbed them in the back because, again, these are Durkas. These are Durkas. You never trust a Durka. If their lips are moving, they're lying. Anyways, so I'm not quite sure what President Trump's game is with Saudi Arabia, but what I can tell you is that the reason, right, one of the reasons that Saudi Arabia and Qatar and the UAE, they don't want the Islamic regime to go is because these countries know that a free Iran is going to be the biggest ally of the United States in the Middle East, and a free Iran will keep the Arabs in check, right? Whereas right now, those Arab countries, they are using the Islamic regime as a tool, they're using the Islamic regime as a negotiating tool against the United States, right? So just think about that. Keep that in mind. The Arab countries want the Islamic regime to remain in power because that actually helps them with controlling the price of oil and other things. So just some food for thought on that. The major actual, the only degrees that mean anything come from STEM. Everything else is posting and testing. Yeah, I agree. This is why I say my sister is the smart one, right? Like, my sister is literally the smart one in the family. She's an aerospace engineering professional. Steak and Beans gifted a membership. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Steak and Beans. John Diamond. Saudi Arabia is where it all began. Let's not forget that. It's where the jihad started. Yes, John, you are absolutely correct. In fact, one of my most viewed videos on my YouTube channel is about jihad. So if you go to my YouTube channel, you guys are already here anyway, but scroll down to popular videos, you'll find it there, right? So it's called They Want Jihad. No, wait, that's not the one I'm looking for. What is it? Oh yeah, guys, go to my YouTube channel and search for this video. Stop apologizing for the Crusades. I made this video like 7 months ago. It's only like 12 minutes long, so it's not a very long video, but I basically talk about the Crusades, and I basically explain why the Crusades happened and why Christians need to like stop apologizing for the Crusades, because you guys should be proud. You should be proud of the Crusades, right? The Crusades were a good thing. The Crusades literally saved your countries, right? I wish that that we Iranians, we had something similar. Like what's happening right now with Iranians fighting the Islamic regime, this is basically like the modern day version of the Crusades, except it's not like Christianity against Islam. It's all religions against Islam, right? So it's like all Iranians, regardless of what religion we are, we're fighting to overthrow the Muslim occupation. But yeah, guys, Islam comes from Saudi Arabia. Like, yeah, it's Muhammad, the Arab warlord, is from Saudi Arabia. But yeah, there you go. The more you know. Buddy Sanders, ancient. Oh god. Okay, so I know what you're referring to here, guys. So, oh my gosh. All right, let me pull this up again. So, Buddy Sanders is referring to Muhammad's trip to the moon. You know what? That would actually be like a very wild. That would actually be a really like cool. Like I would actually watch that. I would watch that. If like the History Channel or something. All right, let me pull this up. If the History Channel made like an Ancient Aliens episode about how Muhammad, the dead Arab warlord, flew a donkey with the face of a woman to the moon and then to Jerusalem, I would totally watch that. Like that is like literally an Ancient Aliens episode. See, guys, I have practice. I can read your super chats, and most of the times I know exactly what you guys are referring to. But that was, buddy, that was great. I actually thank you for the laugh. Super funny. M. Langbert became a new member. Welcome to Goldie's gang. Charlie Duke. Goldie, thank you for introducing me to Rose's channel. Oh yeah, she's great. I thoroughly enjoyed and appreciated the sibling love, support, and humor. One word, denticles. I know, right? Like, guy, I still can't get over denticles. Like, what? Like, never in a million years would I have thought that denticles were like a thing. Like, it was wild. For everyone else who's wondering what I'm referring to, so, my sister, again, she is the smart one in the family. Let me just pull this up for you guys. So my sister has a YouTube channel. It's called The Ghamari Report, and she is an aerospace engineering professional, and she does live streams every Sunday evening about science stuff. So a couple nights ago, we learned about sharks for Shark Week, and apparently, this is something I didn't know, but like a shark's skin is not smooth. A shark's skin is made up of like tiny little teeth, and they're called denticles. And it's like the wildest, craziest thing. So yeah, everyone go check her out. Give her a follow. This is just a quick like housekeeping rule though. Like, that's not a political channel, so don't go there and like ask her about like Iran or something. Like, that's not what the channel is about. It's literally science. It's apolitical. Although I did notice that, you know, when she was sharing like maps of the oceans and stuff, she used the proper term when it came to the Gulf of America. So I don't know. Maybe she's a little bit pro-Trump, but you know, she's kind of keeping it quieter on the DL. I have no idea. But whenever she shares graphics, she does call it by its proper name, which is the Gulf of America. So do with that information what you will. Anyways, but yeah, I do enjoy going to her live streams. Kind of gives me a nice break. And guys, there's actually a really important live stream that she did about a month ago. She actually spoke about like uranium enrichment, and she went through the whole process of, you know, how uranium is enriched and what that means. And again, like, this is not a political thing, but, you know, for someone like me, because I deal with, like, you know, news about the Islamic regime and stuff, it was actually really helpful to learn about the process, because it gave me a better understanding of, you know, like when people are talking about like 20% versus 60% versus 90%, and like how fast it can get to like 90%, really informative. So if you want to learn about like nuclear enrichment and, you know, what President Trump is basically talking about, definitely go check out this live stream. Everyone's talking about uranium enrichment, but what does it actually mean? And yeah, she's a smarty pants. She's a smart one in the family. So going back to Major's comment here, right? The only degrees that mean anything come from STEM. That's very true, because my sister literally has like a degree in aerospace engineering, and she graduated top of her class in aerospace engineering, and I just have like, you know, a dinky little law degree. So there you go. Thanks, Major. Thanks for calling me out. I'm teasing, Major. But my sister really is a smart one. Chase says, hello from the patriotic state of Wyoming. Well, shout out to Wyoming, free of Durkas and commies. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Goldie, for helping me get caught up with the news. Jovicho, thank you so much. God bless Wyoming. God bless America. I love that. You know what? I don't think I've ever actually visited Wyoming, but I should at some point. Like, guys, you know, like Wyoming is one of those places where, you know, you hear about it in like news or stories or whatever, but I don't know. Like, I would love to visit Wyoming. Yellowstone National Park. There you go. Guys, I had a brain freeze there. I was like, wait, I know Wyoming. I know Wyoming is known for something. Yellowstone National Park. There you go. So, sorry guys. I apologize to all of our American viewers. My American geography is not as on par, but, you know, I try my best. But I knew Wyoming was known for something, and it is Yellowstone National Park. By the way, guys, Yellowstone National Park is the world's first national park. So that is why Wyoming, you know, stands out. Because those of us, I knew there was something about Wyoming. I couldn't remember what it was. So I'm glad I looked it up. So welcome, Chase. JNY Blue. Hi, Goldie. You are awesome. Thank you for caring. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And thank you for being here. JNY Blue. Do you think Iran is stalling until they get the weapons from China? Yeah, well, the Islamic regime, so the Islamic regime is stalling. They're going to try to stall as much as they can, either until they can, like, wait out President Trump's presidential term, or if they can build, you know, a nuclear weapon. And they were very, very close to getting a nuclear weapon just recently. And then JNY Blue continues, do you think anyone, Gold States, Israel, or U.S. has the intelligence service to intercept them? Durka, this word sounds so dirty. Well, I mean, okay, so the word Durka comes from Team America World Police, where the guy is like, he's trying to infiltrate the terrorists, and he's like, Durka, Durka, Mohammed Jihad. And then the terrorists are like, Durka, Durka, Mohammed Jihad. So that's where the word Durka comes from. Team America World Police. The United States has the best intelligence in the world. Like, that's just, hands down, United States best intelligence in the world. So I have no doubt that the United States knows everything that's going on. Keep in mind, President Trump is the one who recently confirmed that the Islamic regime murdered over 54,000 Iranians on January 8 and 9, right? So I have faith in American intelligence and Israeli intelligence, 100%. Charlie Duke says, Goldie, I want to say thank you. God bless you. I'm from Gunnison, Utah, tiny town with more turkey. Oh, that's a turkey. More turkeys and goats than people. LOL. Oh my gosh. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here. Utah is another state that I believe, don't get me wrong, I'm going to have to look this up, but I think Utah is also one of those states that's known for its beautiful, like, nature, and, like, trails and hikings and stuff. So, wait, let me check. Oh my God, guys, Goldie is always right. Look at this. Utah, I just checked. Utah is famous for its mighty 5 national parks, world-class skiing, and rich pioneer history. There you go. Guys, even when I don't know if I'm right, I'm still right. There you go. But yeah, Utah is like a beautiful place. Would love to check it out at some point. The nature and the scenery is beautiful. Thank you so much for tuning in, Charlie. Really appreciate that. Minor Dine says, even through these awful events, you keep a hopeful faith. That helps us all. Thank you, Minor Dine. I mean, all of us Iranians were hopeful, right? I mean, remember, the Islamic regime wants us to feel down. They want us to just give up and stop talking about it. So just the fact that we Iranians were hopeful and we're continuing to move forward and we're not giving up, this is the worst nightmare of the Islamic regime. And to be honest, all of you keep me and many others motivated. So thank you to all of you for being here. And our last super chat is from JNY Blue. Donald J. Trump wants to make a deal with Saudi Arabia, partner with them to build nuclear power plants for civilian use. Goldie, you're a beautiful woman. Thank you. Yet so strong and intelligent. We all respect you. Thank you. So this is true. However, President Trump made it very clear. So this is a caveat, right? President Trump said that he's not going to agree to Saudi Arabia building nuclear power plants for civilian use unless they sign the Abraham Accords. So in order for Saudi Arabia to get permission from the United States to build, civilian nuclear power plants, and I say civilian because I don't trust them, but and I said this on Newsmax TV when I was interviewed. However, President Trump said that the caveat is that before Saudi Arabia can actually start building these nuclear facilities, they have to sign on to the Abraham Accords. I don't see Saudi Arabia signing on to the Abraham Accords. I could be wrong, but guys, I'm actually speaking with Jassim. Jassim is my Arab Kuwaiti friend. He is the original Durka whisperer. And if you think I have opinions on Saudi Arabia, you should hear what he has to say about Saudi Arabia. But anyway, I'm speaking with Jassim, and I'm planning on bringing him back very soon on Iran Revolution Live. If not this week, then maybe next week, but hopefully this week, because I actually want to ask him about this question, right? Because my thoughts on this is that this is actually never going to happen because Saudi Arabia is never going to agree, at least not in the short term. They're not going to agree to sign on to the Abraham Accords because they have a lot of Durkas, they have a lot of jihadis, and they're all like against Israel. So if Saudi Arabia were to sign the Abraham Accords, the entire Muslim world would have to follow because Saudi Arabia is the birthplace of Islam. And I don't think Saudi Arabia is going to do that. And remember, guys, on my Saudi Arabian interview yesterday, whenever I brought up Israel, the news anchor was like, okay, well, let's not get into the discussion of Israel. Even though I was like, I support Israel. God bless Israel, right? Like, I knew what I was doing, guys. I knew what I was doing. I literally went on a Saudi news network and I was like supporting Israel. And I was like, you know, God bless Israel. Thank you, Israel, for attacking the Islamic regime. The Islamic regime is murdering Iranians in the name of Allah. And we love Israel. We love the United States, right? So there you go. It was a very wild ride. But there you go, guys. So I want to thank all of you for tuning in. Again, like President Trump's statements, guys, something is brewing. Something is brewing, and President Trump is not going to make his plans known until after the fact because, of course, there's something called operational security. So that's how I see things going from the geopolitical perspective. And we're all just going to have to stay tuned in the next few days and see what happens. But, you know, until then, I'm Goldie Ghamari. You've been watching The Goldie Show. And now you know. I will see all of you guys tomorrow.